Well, accused high country killer Greg Lynn will face court in just a few hours, applying for bail as he awaits retrial after his murder conviction was overturned. To discuss, we are joined this morning by criminal defence lawyer Ruth Parker in Melbourne. Ruth, thanks for your time today. This is a blockbuster day in court today. What can we expect from this hearing?
Well, in applying for bail, Mr Lynn's lawyers will have to satisfy the court that there are exceptional circumstances which justify a grant of bail. Now, he didn't previously apply for bail because he had been charged with 2 murders, but in these circumstances he's facing a retrial on 1, and one of the arguments that might be run is that his prospects of success are decent and that the Crown case actually isn't as strong as they make out.
So they're the grounds, really? I mean, he is still accused of murder, Ruth. What technical grounds can we argue here? How likely is this to happen?
Well, the law says that if you're charged with a crime like murder, you have to establish exceptional circumstances, either one or in combination. And they include things like, for example, ill health, the strength of the Crown case, whether you've ever been in trouble before, and whether you're looking at a substantial delay. Because unlike previously, he's now presumed innocent again. But the battleground, I think, will be that the Crown are going to allege unacceptable risk, so potentially unacceptable risk of flight. He was, after all, a pilot. And so it's going to be very interesting to see the arguments play out and how the court reacts to them.
His murder conviction was overturned on appeal, on a technicality. So how careful do prosecutors now need to be, not only in this appeal today for him to get bail, but going forward when we talk about a retrial?
Oh, terribly, terribly careful. And as I've previously said before, one of the interesting things about the retrial is that in the first trial, Mr Lynn gave evidence. And one of the grounds of appeal that succeeded was that the prosecutor dealt with him in cross-examination unfairly because he closed to the jury on a number of bases that he hadn't put to Mr Lynn. But now Mr Lynn doesn't have to give evidence again. They can replay his testimony from the last trial. So they're going to have to be very careful about how they manage this case, given that he's now up on 1 murder and not 2.
But Ruth, is there if we were to flip this, is there an upside for prosecutors when it comes to a retrial? Because there was so much that was withheld or kept from the jury in the last trial. Is there a chance that some of that may now be played to the jury, some of the evidence that they collated that was suppressed previously?
Look, I think that's unlikely. It's always difficult when you're being retried. Lawyers hate it because also the prosecution are now aware of the tactics that the defence are going to potentially use because this is a retrial. But it's also very difficult for the defence in circumstances where those orders were lifted. And so the general public know a lot about Mr Lynn that they wouldn't have known had they been in the trial. And that is something that the judge is going to have to manage with very strong directions to the jury about putting those kinds of things out of their mind.
This is going to be such an awful retrial for the family. I mean, it's been 6 years since the deaths of Carol and Russell, 6 years of torment for their families. If Greg Lynn is granted bail today, what happens next?
Well, he will be on, I would expect, very, very strict bail conditions, and that would include things like reporting daily to police, a curfew, static residential address, but he would remain on bail until he's tried, and then at the conclusion of the trial, a jury will have to reach a new verdict, whether it's guilty or not guilty.
All right, it may take years. Thank you so much, Ruth, for joining us this morning and your insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
It's the